Hello everybody, welcome to the studio. Hopefully you're all having amazing creative days. So I got an exciting video for you today. We're gonna be reviewing this video light by iFootage, and it is the Anglerfish SL1 60DN video light. And it's perfect for anybody who needs a small video light on the go. I know the box looks pretty big in hand, but when we unbox it, the light is a lot smaller and more portable. And it's a perfect light for streamers, anybody who's on the go creating video production, and for those of us who do photography as well. It's a nice little photography light that you can take with you for portrait sessions. You can plug it into a wall outlet, and you can also use PD power supply, USB-C power, whatever you want to call it, to power this light and get some nice shots. So yeah, today we're gonna review this light, and we're gonna look for the good, the bad, and try and get to the bottom of it and understand what this product is all about. And iFootage did send me this light for review, just to let you know, and this will be an honest review. I'm not gonna try and peddle products and push products that people don't need. So I'm gonna give you an honest review, and after you watch it, hopefully you have a good understanding of what this light is all about. And if you enjoyed the review, give it a thumbs up and check out the links down below. So with that being said, let's get into the video. All right, so let's take a look at what you get in the box. And the first thing you'll notice is there's a box inside the box. So yeah, this is your carrying case. And if we open that up, on the first deck, we get a power cord, and this is a nice thick power cord. And you have a little piece of Velcro here attached to it, so you can strap up your cord and keep it nice and neat. So that's pretty cool. Here we have the standard reflector that comes with the light. It's got their proprietary smaller mount on here. And then here we have the second cable. So this is the power brick. So that thicker cord will plug into this, and then this will plug into the light. And now for the star of the show, let's take a look at the light itself. So this is the light. It's pretty small, right? That's a tiny, tiny little light. Also worth mentioning is you have this little mount adapter in the box as well, and you can see it has dual threads. So that is awesome. And what this does is it allows you to mount this to a tripod, a stand, or anything that has a standard photography type thread in it, and you can turn that into a mount for your light. So you can mount this just about anywhere, tripod, stands, whatever. As long as you can thread it to this, you can use it as a light stand. All right, so let's talk about build quality. Look how small this light is. This is nice and small and compact. It's about the size of a camera unit, so you can probably pop this in your camera bag with your camera, and you don't really have to worry about it taking up too much space. So in terms of build quality, got a nice metal housing on the outside. If you look in there, you can see heat sinks, the fins from the heat sinks, and at the bottom, if we can move this out of the way, you can see that there's a fan. I don't know if you can see that in camera or not, but there's a fan in there, which is pretty cool, and that'll turn on to keep the light nice and cool, which is awesome. On the back, you have your knobs and dials, and you have your little LCD screen, which is cool. If there's one gripe that I have with, and it's not just this company, but it's all the video light companies, they put their screens up at the top of the light. But I mean, realistically, when you have this light set up and you're shooting somebody, the light isn't down here, it's up high, pointed down at somebody. So if you're the photographer, videographer, and you're trying to read this little tiny screen at the top, the screen's always pointed up. So they should reverse these lights so the screen is at the bottom. So when you're actually, like, try and read that. Well, let's see, the camera's focusing on my face, but you know, if this is pointed down, it's hard to read the screen. But if these screens were at the bottom, then it would make more sense. So as a photographer, videographer, when you're going to adjust your light, you can actually read the screen. I don't know, it's just a little gripe with me. I don't know why all these light manufacturers keep putting the screens on the tops of the lights when they should be on the bottom. But anyway, and on the back, you have a little DC input, so power input. You have a USB-C power input too, so you can power this light with, I guess, your wall outlet or with USB-C, which is nice. And yeah, it's very simplistic. There aren't too many buttons or knobs or dials. Very nice. All right, so let's talk about the SL1 60DN, and first feature I want to talk about is the price. This little light only costs $99 USD, and I think that is an absolutely fantastic deal for a 70 watt light that's small, compact, portable, and easy to use with Bluetooth control. Like, that is pretty good. Like, if you're doing a Twitch stream kind of setup and you just want like a light set up illuminating you at a close distance, this light is pretty good. But if you're a professional videographer and you're looking to shoot, let's say, music videos or something like that, and you're shooting in multiple or different kinds of lighting situations, including bright situations, this might not be the light for you. Stick around to the end of the video where I talk about the pros and cons, and I'll go through that. But for now, we're just gonna talk about the features this light does have. So price, $99. Size, weight, absolutely amazing, can't complain there. Button layout, super simple. You have one button for your brightness adjustment and one to switch your settings. You have a power on off, and then you have your power input. And that's another feature I really like about this light. If you have a V-mount battery, for example, you can just plug that into the light. There you go. You have power. So if you want to shoot, let's say in the forest at night or something like that, and you want to bring a portable light with you, you put the battery in your backpack or your pocket, have your cable, and then you can hold your light, or you can get an assistant to hold the light too. It's, like I said, it's super lightweight, so you can do a lot of things with it. So yeah, this the fact that you have PD power supply is absolutely amazing. All right, if you're into crazy lighting effects, this light has 8 built-in options. It's gonna be over there on the side. You can pause the video if you want to read through them. You also have light dimming curves, so if you want to get creative and have the light dim in a certain way, you can set that up as well, which is pretty cool. And another feature I really like about this light is the fact that it has a mini bones mount. There's a few accessories out there that you can buy for this, which is great, so you have lighting options. And the best thing is you have this mini bones mount to full-size bones mount adapter, which just snaps on like that. So now you can use all those amazing full-size bones mounts, light adapters and modifiers, so that is great. Awesome to see that on there. And the other nice thing is that this adapter has its own, I guess, mounting mount. So yeah, and it's a lot stiffer. Like, it doesn't bend as easy, so you can put heavier modifiers on it, whereas the one that comes with the light is not the stiffest, but then again, you're not gonna put super massive light modifiers on this little light. So that's great. Okay, and while we're talking about this mount, I also want to mention that this mount is all metal. There's no plastic there, so I really appreciate that, because I've had my issues with plastic mounts before, cracking and snapping and breaking over time, so it's definitely nice to see a full metal mount. All right, and if you're into long power cables, check this out. Like, it just goes and goes and goes, and you have 7 meters of power cable, which is absolutely amazing. So if you have your wall outlet at a distance, you can bring your light to the center of a room or whatever, and you have a lot of leeway there. But there is one issue which I'll talk about later, because it happened while I was testing the light, and that is, all right, and another feature with this light is you have a built-in fan, which is great. It keeps the light cool, and a big concern with fans is noise, and I have to say that after a couple months of use with this light, you don't hear that fan at all, unless, of course, like if you have your camera set to auto audio and it's super sensitive and it picks up every noise in the room, yeah, you're gonna hear the fan, you're gonna hear yourself breathe, you're gonna hear traffic outside. But if you're using a lavalier mic, a shotgun mic, if you have your audio set to manual, you know what you're doing, then you're definitely not gonna hear this fan. It's nice and quiet. All right, so one thing that really impressed me about this light is the quality of the light. It's balanced to 5600 Kelvin, which is pretty much like sunlight at high noon. So just think about like super bright, clean, white sunlight that just makes all the colors around you look accurate. So that's what this produces. And I have to say that of all the lights I've tested recently, this is probably the most color accurate light I've seen. There's no color cast or color shift, and I'm super impressed by that. So iFootage, that is absolutely amazing. I love that about this light. But stick around to the end where I talk about the pros and cons, because that's a pro and it's also a con. All right, so I've had this light for a couple months now, and let's talk about the case and the practicality of this case. So if you plan on taking your light and chucking it out of a moving car or throwing it over a cliff, you can rest assured your light is gonna be perfectly safe in this case. It's padded everywhere. If you wanna ship your light or something like that, you don't have to worry about your light getting damaged in this case. It's fantastic. But on the other side of the coin, as somebody who's been in the industry 20 years, it's just not a very practical case. It's too much padding. Like, I appreciate padding around the light. I want the light to be safe and, you know, secure. I don't want the electronics to get damaged, but we don't need padding around the power brick. We don't need padding around the power cord. We don't need padding around the reflector. It just adds size and bulk to the case. I mean, look at the size of this thing. This is a little 70-watt light, LED light, and massive case, massive case. So From a practical perspective, as somebody who's been doing this 20 years, I don't like this case because it's just too big and bulky, and it's frustrating to it just takes up too much space. But a couple positives is you do have these Velcro straps on the case, so you can strap a light stand to the case. So it's kind of like an all-in-one solution if you want the stand and the light and all that stuff. But another thing to note is there's no space for that mini bones mount to full-size bones mount adapter. But if you take out the padding that holds the power cord on the second level, I don't know why there's padding for that, but if you take that out of the case, then you can put the power cord and the bones mount adapter in there at the same time, which is great. And another thing, because this case is so big, you can actually, like if you have your light set up on a C-stand and you need a counterbalance, you can Velcro this case to that stand. And because it's so big, you can fill it with a couple rocks or jacket or whatever you want, and it'll be a nice counterbalance. So, I mean, there's that. All right, moving on to the next thing. All right, so now we're gonna take a look at this light as a streamer setup. I have the light set up with the cone that came with the light. We're gonna pop it here on a stand, lock it in place, and move it a little further away from me. So there we go. So this is what the light looks like right out of the box with the reflector that it comes with. And you can see with this kind of lighting setup, you get really harsh lighting on the face. Shadows are pretty straight and linear. This is what you would call hard lighting or harsh lighting in photography. So you probably don't want this. You could maybe you could get away with it, but in reality, you probably don't want this. Let's see if I have something here. If you have some kind of like white paper, like obviously don't put this over the light, but if you put, we might be able to diffuse it actually like this. Let's try this. So we're gonna punch up the lighting, and then we're gonna put the paper, hang the paper in front of the light. And okay, it's a little more diffused, but it's not as diffused as it could be. So now I'm gonna show you what this light looks like with a proper diffuser. All right, so now we're gonna mount a diffuser onto the light, and the diffuser is good because it'll soften the light. As you saw before, the light was very harsh and direct. This is gonna soften it up. We have the grid on here. This is about like a medium, small size diffuser. It's perfect for illuminating an upper body. It's not really the greatest for full body, but you know, if you're streaming, you just want your head and shoulders, upper torso kind of lit up. So this is gonna be perfect for that. So let's get this on here. Just clicks into place. And then we're gonna take the front reflector off of this light and mount the light to here. There we go, easy peasy. All right, so now we have the diffuser with the grid on here. Let's check out what it looks like. I definitely recommend picking up a diffuser and a grid if you wanna be using a light. So you can see here, it's a lot more flattering on the face. We have a little bit of shadow roll off. It's not bad, it's not bad. And of course, if you move the light more to the side, you get one side in darkness, one side in light. Oh, and now we're gonna take this grid off the light, and I'm gonna show you how it becomes a little more diffused when you take the grid off. So let's pull the Velcro off. So now let's put you back in place. So you can see it just got a little bit brighter because the grid kind of, you know, absorbs some of the light. So we're gonna push the light a little further back because I don't want to fiddle with the brightness. And there we go. You can see it's slightly, I don't know, honestly, I don't even see it. I'm looking at the thing here, but it's theoretically, it should be a little softer and more diffused without the grid because the grid kind of focuses everything and makes the shadows a little sharper. Without the grid, it should be nice and soft. So this is a one light setup. Not bad, not bad if you're streaming, but now I'm going to show you what a sandwich technique is. So if you have two of these lights, I'm gonna show you how to make things look a little sexier with a sandwich. All right, let me set that up. All right, so sandwich lighting technique. We have one light behind me, one light in front of me. And the trick is we have one light on either side of the subject, and we rotate them at 45 degrees. So one light's gonna be in front of me and up into my right, and this one is behind me up into the left. And I'm starting with this light here to show you what it does. And you can see on the side of my body here, there's a harsh light line, and that's gonna create character and depth. And that's exactly what you want. So that's the edge light, or hair light, or whatever you want to call it. Now let's set up the key light, which is going to illuminate my face. All right, there you go. Now you can see my face, and you can see this key light here is illuminating my face. It's also got a diffuser on it, so we got nice soft shadows and everything. And on the edge, you can see that edge light, that really nice light on the edge of my body. Now this creates a little more drama, a little more depth, a little more character, and the lighting looks just a little more polished. Typically in this kind of setup, you wouldn't see this light in the shot. It doesn't look, you don't want to really show the light you just have it off somewhere. You can maybe have a practical light sitting on the table and make it look like this edge light is coming from that practical lamp, even though it's probably not powerful enough to light everything up. So it's a little video trick there. But you probably see this kind of lighting if you watch news shows or interviews or any kind of, like, even in movies, you see them use this kind of lighting all the time. In any case, this is the lighting setup you can use in your photography, your videography, your stream setup, just to make things look a little more professional and polished. All right, there you go. Now you know. All right, so let's do a bright window light test. And for me, one of the big questions with LED lights is, are they bright enough to be able to compete with bright sunlight shining in through a window? So if I want to film a client or film myself with a window in the background, will the light illuminate me or will I be dim? So that's what we're going to test right now. So I have the light turned around, pointed away from me. Let's flip it around and point it towards me now. Light is at 100% power. And yeah, VND is open all the way. So I have the light, let's say 4 feet away from me, and it's at full power. It illuminates me somewhat, but I'm still not bright enough. So let's bring it a little closer. And if you're streaming or anything like that, light would be closer. So here we are, light is, let's tighten this up. What happened here? Light went out. All right, so one of the big issues I have with this light, and I'm just gonna just off on a tangent, is this power cord slides out with very little effort. Even if we like really jam it in there, it just takes, I don't know why. Usually these cords stick in there pretty tight, so I guess it wobbles too, so it wobbles, and that's probably how it comes out. So, I mean, for future iterations of this light, hopefully, you know, iFootage figures out a way to make this a little more tight and stable. So yeah, anyway, that's a little side rant here. Let's get back to testing this light. Okay, so light is arm's length away from me and it's lighting me up, and it's not too bright, but if I take the grid off, it should be brighter. There we go. Okay, so yeah, without the grid, it's a little brighter, it works well. So if you want to film yourself in a stream room and have a nice bright window behind you, yeah, it seems like at full power, arm's length away with a bright window is the formula for success. All right, so let's talk about the positives and the negatives of this light. And I've got it running here in the background at full power, 100% power. And one of the things that happened to me when I first got this light, well, the first 2 times I used it actually, is it shut off about an hour into use. So I'm assuming it overheated and shut down to protect itself. And you know, I've been using this light now for a few months and filming YouTube videos and stuff like that. And usually you don't leave it running for an hour straight. You're filming segment and then segment and then segment. So for this review video, I'm trying to get the light to shut down again. And I've been running it for just about 3 hours now, and it's still going. So I don't know what happened. I don't know why the light shut down on me when I first used it, but now that I'm trying to get it to overheat, it's not overheating, so maybe that point is moot. But since it did happen, I figured I should mention it in the video. All right, so one thing worth mentioning here, you know, for your own safety is I've been running this light for 3 hours now, and you know, it's pretty warm to the touch. It's pretty warm to the touch. It's probably hot for most people. I have experience working in a kitchen, so my fingertips, they've been burnt many times, so I don't feel heat like everyone else, but it is pretty hot, so something to watch out for. All right, so the thing with this light is it's got a beautiful light and it's set to 5600 Kelvin, but you can't adjust that Kelvin. So depending on your needs, like if you're a streamer and you have your studio set up and you just want beautiful white light, you know, shining on your face and illuminating you as you stream, perfect. But if you're into doing some more robust video work, like let's say music videos, for example, and let's say you want to shoot in the morning, so you want a nice bluish light, like, you know, a higher Kelvin number, or afternoon light, you want to shoot at sunset, so you want a lower Kelvin number, more orangey, you know, amber kind of light. You're not going to be able to do this with this light unless you get colored gels and you tape them over top of the front element of the light, and then you can kind of change the color tone of the light. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like if you want a light that goes from orange to blue, you want a bicolored LED light. This is a fixed Kelvin temperature light, right? And then you have your RGB lights, which can do all the colors of the spectrum. So just something to keep in mind if you're new to shopping for lights and you're not sure what to buy. Just understand what kind of light you're buying. This one is locked in at 5600K. And another thing I absolutely love about this light is the fact that you can run it off of a USB power bank. Like, that's awesome. Like, even if you have a phone charger power bank and it can deliver enough power through the USB cable, now the USB cable has to be the right kind of USB cable to deliver the power as well, you can power this light. So if you're out somewhere at a beach or at a cabin in the woods filming some Evil Dead type stuff, then you know, this is great. It works. And this is a newer V-mount battery, and it has like a USB-C out, and you can plug it right into the light, and it's great. So I'm going to link this product down below in the description. So if you're interested in picking this up for your light, there you go. Okay, so one of the negatives with this light is 70 watts of power. It's not enough, in my personal opinion. But it all depends on what you're using it for and how you're using it, what the application is. Because the power of light is relative to the ambient light in the situation that you're in. So right now I'm in a relatively dark studio, you know, it's overcast outside, 70 watts of power is more than enough. But you saw earlier when I was testing this light out with bright sunlight coming through the window at full power, it was barely enough to balance me out against all the sunlight. So it really comes down to use case, you know, and the thing is, if you need more power, iFootage has some fantastic options. There's, I think, 2 other lights above this light in terms of power, and that all works with the app. So if you get the app, you can connect all the lights together through the app and control them all together. So if that's something you're looking to do, then there's definitely options for you. But as a starter light, as a streamer light, as somebody who wants to shoot YouTube content or TikTok content, indoors, like, you know, in a situation like this, it's more than enough. I think 12% power and it lights me up no problem. All right, so my overall thoughts on this light and who's it for. I'm really impressed with this light. For $100, you have a nice small compact light that can fit in your camera bag. You can take it with you. You can use it for a streaming setup, a YouTube setup, if you want to shoot TikTok videos or Instagram, YouTube, shorts, whatever the case may be. This is a great light for that kind of work. And obviously, you know, it's not amazing for outdoor stuff, but if you're shooting indoors in studios, gyms, whatever the case may be, it's a really nice light. And at this price point, it's hard to argue and say that it's not good. It's got some great features. You can run it off a battery, you can run it off your power mains, you have different modifiers. And speaking of modifiers, I would definitely recommend picking up a diffuser, something with a grid, so you can kind of shape the light a little bit. And this is a full-size Bones mount on the back. There's also, this has got a mini Bones mount naturally, so you can find diffusers like this for mini Bones mounts as well. I wouldn't recommend using the light with the reflector cone like as it is, because it just doesn't make the face look good. It's not flattering. So definitely get some sort of diffuser for the light. So yeah, with that being said, if you have any questions about the light, let me know in the comments down below and I'll get back to you. If you want to follow me on social media, links are also down below. And yeah, that's it. Peace out. Thanks for watching to the end. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video.